You know what the very best part of the year ending is? The next one beginning. Fresh starts, new memories just in sight, all just a few steps away. But before you turn that big year-sized leaf, one of the kindest things we can do for ourselves is reflect. Because our best steps forward happen when we take the time to look back at where we've been. Let's go. Here's the thing about money. It's everywhere. It's tied up in our home, in our food, in our hobbies, in our family. And while it can sometimes feel like just another resource to maintain, blah, 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 money is actually the fuel that allows us to ignite a lot of life's greatest experiences. Money lets us choose where we live, how we spend our time, lets our 6-year-old form that core memory of finally convincing mom to buy the slightly deformed SpongeBob SquarePants popsicle from the ice cream truck for once. Believe me, that memory will stick with him. That one sliding sideways eyeball is really seared into me. So, money matters. It pays the bills, yeah, but it also fuels the fun. And when we look back on how we spent our money, we're learning a little bit about ourselves, how we came to be us, and who we want to lean into becoming. So today, as we review our year in YNAB, think of it as compassionate data gathering. Looking back to see you and your partner average 3 trips a month to grab ramen bowls isn't meant to make you go, whoops, that was too much ramen, wasn't it? But instead, make you realize, okay, wow, my partner and I love celebrating our little wins with quality time together over a hot bowl of noodles. That's so us. Or when you notice how you scraped up every extra penny you could this year to buy that minivan when you found out baby number 3 was on the way, you also realize it left no room for that much needed family trip. And man, you want that family trip. We gotta make that happen next year. See? No judgment. No, we need to spend less, or we're just not doing it right. Just compassionate data gathering. So let's do it. Let's reflect. Starting with looking back. My favorite way to get a sense of who was I this year is through YNAB's spending breakdown, which can be found in the Reflect tab on both the web and mobile apps. For your year in review, just select year to date as your time range, and here we get a look at what percentage of our spending this year came from which categories. You can see for us, we prioritize being homeowners. Absolutely we do, which also explains home improvement being our 5th highest spend category. My 2005 Buick was starting to get a little too sketchy for our liking, so we purchased a new to us car just last month. And it's obvious we love pouring into our son with baby gear and childcare coming in spots number 3 and 4. Now when I saw this, I kind of was like, okay, big whoop. Isn't this what everyone's spending looks like? Until I clicked back to last year, only to find an entirely different set of priorities. No baby categories, no car. In fact, our highest spend categories after the mortgage were our fun money categories, people. Talk about the dinker life, am I right? Our baby gear category actually had a positive inflow because we spent more of the year saving for our little guy than we did spending on him. And when I compare groceries from one year to the next, don't even get me started. Our groceries practically doubled in all the organic berries this dude is slurping down. Blueberries for what? Looking at these 2 years back to back, you'd think these were 2 totally different families. But nope, it was just 2023 Hannah and Mac compared to 2024 Hannah and Mac. What mattered to us then and what matters to us now. Like a 180. That was powerful for me. When we say how you spend your money is a reflection of you, turns out we really mean it. So grab a piece of paper and your favorite gel pen, because this is where you get to take a look at your spending breakdown for the year and ask yourself some questions. First, look at your spending breakdown. What are you happy you did in the last year? Write it down. Was it the week-long trip back home? Did you finally invest in your education? Or maybe generously give to a cause that actually had a real positive impact on your local community? Sometimes it's even the boring stuff, like finally starting to invest in your 401k or paying down the first half of your car loan. If it made you proud, write it down. Next, what brought you joy? Did you finally come to terms with your ramen obsession and make a weekly ramen date night category, and now it's your favorite category and weekly expense of all time? Was your cat's toys and treats category getting positively drained each and every month in well-deserved spoilage? How many households did your hospitality category get to shine in this year with party-sized charcuterie boards and housewarming gifts? Also, is it charcuterie or charcuterie? I don't know. And finally, one big question that can be the catalyst for some real impactful positive change. Is there anything about your spending this past year that you feel like didn't align with your true priorities? That you'd like to consider maybe approaching differently in the new year? Sometimes it's just not living your priorities like you wanted. Mac and I created a holiday shenanigans category in hopes that it'd help us feel a little more free to indulge in all the big holidays year-round. 4th of July, Halloween, Easter. Knowing we've set aside money just for those little celebrations, and we hardly spent a dime from it. What were we doing? No, we spent more on Spotify than we did our holiday fun. That ain't right, people. It ain't right. But other times, there might just be a real barrier worth addressing. Maybe you're spending more on eating out than you really want, not because you just love eating out or even prioritize the convenience, but because you realize there's something else at home you're avoiding. Maybe the constant mess, the never-ending dishes, or let's be honest, the energy it takes to organize a meal plan. Who has that? Who has that? Seeing the percentage spent on dining out, knowing it's really just money spent on avoiding home, doesn't feel worth it to you. You decide to research house cleaning services, get some bougie cleaning tools that makes doing the dishes actually feel fun, and purchase a pre-designed meal plan box from someone else who loves meal planning. We love them. Okay. We'll come back to this list later, but a brief aside. Maybe reflecting on your year just makes you go, oof, I don't think the way I'm spending my money aligns with who I am at all. Or maybe you've had the best intentions when it comes to your spending plan, but you just haven't been able to keep up with it the past few months. This is where a fresh start could be the perfect clean slate you need to kick off the new year. You can find the Fresh Start button in the main menu of YNAB in both the web and mobile apps. A fresh start takes your current budget and makes a whole new copy of it. Same categories, same targets, same notes. The 3 things it does do are: 1, archives your old spending plan for safekeeping. This way you can always go back to it to peek at past transactions, refer back to past category balances or money assignments, or if you just wake up the next day and decide, I didn't want a fresh start after all. You always have it right there. 2, starts you off with a clean sweep of your transaction history. All that spending history, reset. What happens in the past stays in the past, and your transaction history starts afresh from this day forward. And 3, it unassigns all your dollars from the spending plan, allowing you to undistractedly change your target amounts any way you might need, and reassign all your dollars back out to the spending plan through the lens of your new goals. I know YNABers who fresh start every year on January 1st, others who only fresh start with big life changes, and some who have literally never fresh started at all. But if it brings you peace of mind or that new year, new me mindset you're craving, a fresh start is a very low-risk way to reset and dive into the new year with a spending plan you can feel confident in. Now, we don't reflect on our past just to conclude, whoops, or what's done is done, I guess. That would be boring and unhelpful. Gross. We reflect on our past so that we can have the information to know how to build a more aligned and exciting financial future for ourselves. Now, in looking forward to the new year, this is where we get to ask, what happiness do I want to continue to feed? Or what spending habits am I ready to challenge? Or maybe what goals are going to get me closer to who I want to be? Start by looking back at the list we made earlier, your happinesses and joys. Which of these do we want to build into our plan for the new year? Some might be ready for a repeat next year, while others might be done and checked off for good. Farewell new car category, long live cat toys and treats. For expenses that we want to carry over into the new year, are you satisfied with how they played out over the year? Or is it time to maybe bump up the target and lean in a little more? Are you wanting to save up for the new home build this year with a little more momentum than last? Or maybe you realize it's time to bump up the kids' sports categories now that they've finally found that one sport they really want to pour their all into. Make these tweaks to the New Year's plan. Now we're gonna slow down, take a deep breath, and really think. What's missing from this list of joy and happiness that must find a spot in the new year? Maybe it's the annual family trip you missed because you were saving up all you could for that new car. Or has it become increasingly obvious over the last year that you and your partner don't carve out enough time or money for special nights out, just the two of you? Or maybe it's some kind of stability issue. Maybe you were just slammed this year with a surprise $3,000 computer replacement that shot your miscellaneous category up to your top 10 spending categories. Yeah, you're not really looking to repeat that anytime soon, so you create a new tech replacement category and start throwing in $50 a month. That'll bring you joy to not get hit with that one again. Now, I'll admit, sometimes we're not really sure what's missing or how to even prepare for it. This is where YNAB Templates can give you the brain boost you didn't know you needed. Head over to ynab.com/templates to browse our growing template library. Each template is pre-built with editable categories and groups designed to inspire your goal-setting side. Let's start with a template more fitting than ever, New Year's resolutions. Here we find a cornucopia of categories to empower your New Year's goals, each with an editable sample target built right in for inspiration. Whoa. Am I supposed to save up for all these goals? Because I'm not that inspired. Oh no, we can customize these bad boys down to a T. When importing any template, YNAB lets you keep the categories you want and ditch the ones you don't. Once I import my tap dancing lessons and nutritionist categories, I can then tweak the targets to match my personal needs. But boy, oh boy, do we have templates to match all kinds of projects and goals you might want to pursue this new year. For instance, our travel template covers everything from plane tickets and car rentals all the way down to road trip snacks and pet sitting. Oh, and speaking of, if this year's the one you're finally gonna bring home that furry friend, our new puppy template has got you covered from vaccinations to pedicures. And the kitchen remodel template is just as excited to pick out the perfect backsplash as you are. Just import, customize, and get one step closer to dreams becoming game plan. Now, at the turn of the new year, it's also a great idea to reevaluate where we stand with any debts we have. Are you comfortable with the rate at which you're paying down your debts? Whether you're in the slow and steady camp or the let's knock these puppies out crew, all this can be explored with YNAB's Loan Planner. Just click into any of your loan accounts on the web app and click Open Payoff Simulator. Here, you can explore a number of approaches to your debt, like what it would look like to increase your monthly payment to speed up payoff. YNAB will show you the newly calculated payoff date as well as how much you're going to be saving in interest. Not bad. On the flip side, if you've been throwing everything you have at your debts for a while now, but you'd like to slow down for a season and put a little more of that money toward your other goals, watch what happens when you decrease your monthly payments. And if it's less about the amount and more about the time frame, let YNAB calculate what your monthly payments should be to reach payoff by your ideal date. And when it comes to debt payoff, our compassionate data gathering still applies. Don't forget to ask yourself, what's best for me right now? If meeting the minimums in order to keep the most money possible freed up for current expenses is what the next year of life calls for, perfect. If you have the flexibility to put more toward your debts this year, to save that extra time and interest, and be able to free up all that payment money for bigger, more exciting goals faster, more power to you. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's just what works for you. And lastly, a big and often forgotten part of closing out the old year and ringing in the new is gratitude and graciousness. You did it, and it may not have been perfect, but you did it. When it comes to our final reflection question, was any of our spending this year misaligned with our priorities? The solution here is just kindness. None of us are born with this innate knowledge of how to do money. It's okay if it's hard. It's okay if some of our spending was not really what we wanted. Your worth isn't tied up in your net worth. We learn a little bit more about who we are and how money can help us become a little more of that person with each new day. So, we forgive ourselves and focus on what we can do next rather than dwelling on what we've done. And with that, dare I say, you might be entering this new year a little more spendful, a little more in tune with your money and yourself than ever before. And the you are this year is setting next year's you up to be an even you-ier you than this year's you was than last year's you. You know? Because you're spending on purpose, not on autopilot, aligning every dollar with your values. My favorite YNABers, it means the world that you joined me for this video. I'm excited for who we get to see ourselves become this year. Wishing you the happiest of spending, the sweetest of savings, the joyfulest of giving, and a very happy new year. Thanks for watching. And lastly, a big and often forgotten part of closing out the new year and ringing in the new year is that you forgot the old part, is what you forgot often. Okay. So flat to my head. Get some energy, get some character. You can drive a person crazy. Whoa. My fingers are so cold. Hey, yo, stop. More power to ya. We believe in you. Seeing the percentage? That's a good word. Percentage. How much you spent in a certain category. Yeah. Seeing the percentage? No! Oh, yikes. Percentage. Oh no. That's a bad sign. The yawns are infiltrating. Oh, for the love of Jeremy.